Hello and welcome to Sci-Fi-Night Light. This is a different segment of a show which is basically just my opportunity to talk about random subjects that somehow relate to sci-fi and horror. Alright, so we previously took a look at some dated Dracula films from the 70s to the 21st century.
I am Dracula.
But strange horror titles are definitely nothing new. Speaking of vampires, they are often pitted up against werewolves in fictional fantasy battles, or really stale, poorly acted, shitty romance films. So let's take a look at some weird werewolf titles throughout the years. We're gonna kick off with one of the best titles so far, 1971's Werewolves on Wheels. Now, as the name might suggest, this film is about werewolf bikers.
Christ. I ain't never seen anything so far out in my life.
Set in the groovy 70s, a biker gang is out doing what biker gangs do best, fighting, drinking, and getting freaky. None of these bikers are quite as handsome as pretty boy Jax Teller from the Sons of Anarchy though. So I guess we're more realistic in that sense. While out on the road, this biker gang ends up at a weird satanic temple where the monks proclaim the biker gang leader's girlfriend as the bride of Satan. As with all good biker movies, this encounter ends with a fight, and while the bikers win the battle, the monks have won the war as werewolfiness now haunts the biker gang. This is a really weird movie. Well, I mean, of course, it's featured in a video about weird movies. But let me stress how weird this film is. As it's a 70s film, it's very psychedelic, and despite the crazy setup, the film is way more artsy than you think, and not as cheesy as you'd expect. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still cheesy as hell, but there's more to it than you might think. Not really a good movie, but definitely interesting, weird, and entertaining at the least. Next up, we get to the most gratuitous film on the list, Strippers vs. Werewolves. Now, it's worth mentioning that this 2012 film came out around 4 years after Zombie Strippers, and the same year as Zombies vs. Strippers. So I guess there was kind of a monster stripper theme going on around these years. In the film, a werewolf top dog is accidentally killed at a strip club. This leaves the strippers until the next full moon to prepare for the inevitable attack from the werewolf's gang. This is a very knowingly cheesy film that doesn't take itself seriously, at least. It features Freddy Krueger himself, Robert Englund, and he's got a whopping 10 lines in the movie. The flick is kind of a love letter to the horror genre and features references to the original Wolfman, Monster Squad, and An American Werewolf in London. If you like your slasher films with tons of blood, nudity, and cheese, then this might very well be for you, but you gotta know what you're getting yourself into. Let's move on to a werewolf action film, and one that I picked up because of a sweet looking DVD cover. The 2006 film Skinwalkers is about two warring tribes of werewolves who are fighting over control over one of the young members. One of the gangs love feeding on humans, while the other just want to cure their curse. The film features performances by actors such as Kim Coates and Elias Koteas, two actors who I very much enjoy. The film itself, however, isn't all that great. Sure, it's got some decent action and all, but it's almost like the trailer is cut and edited better than the film, and more exciting as well, with fewer inconsistencies and plot holes. Also, the werewolf effects aren't all that great, unfortunately. The 1981 film The Howling is a pretty damn good and underrated werewolf film. It's too good to be on this list, in fact, so let's move on to the sequel, the 1985 film The Howling 2 Sturba Werewolf Bitch. Yeah, that title alone should garner some kind of attention. The film features the legendary Christopher Lee, B-movie action star Reb Brown, and Sybil Danning, who gets very gratuitously naked in it. The film goes against a lot of the stuff that actually happened in the first film, and moves over to Transylvania, which I thought was the home of vampires, not werewolves, but whatever. This film is just weird, just really, really weird. See it on your own risk. The 1984 film Monster Dog is a werewolf film that features rock star Alice Cooper.
Listen, werewolves do exist.
Oh, bullshit, Vince.
In the film, Cooper plays, what else, a rock star whose hometown gets ravaged by werewolves. It's very cheesy and pretty weird. If you want some more info on it, you can check out Dead West's review and his awesome channel over here for more info on it.
Hey, you!
So let's get old school with the last entry. Real old school. Even more so than Werewolves on Wheels. We're checking out Werewolf in a Girls' Dormitory all the way from 1961. This film is also known as Lycanthropus and The Ghoul in the School, because why have one title when you can have three, right?
Maybe it's better.
The movie is, of course, about a werewolf wreaking havoc at an all-girls school. It's just as silly as a monster movie from a period should be, though. If you like classic horror films from a time, then by all means check it out. If nothing else, for the old school charm. You can actually see this film and Werewolves on Wheels in their entirety for free on YouTube. I'll post some links in the descriptions for those who are interested.
Thank you. It's very good of you.
So that about does it for this episode of Sci-Fi-Night Light. Did we miss any weird werewolf movies that you like? Please by all means let us know in the comments section, and your suggestion might be brought up in a future video. So as always, I'm your host, Sebastian Vendel Martinez, and I'm signing out.
In my report from the coroner, he said the girl was assaulted by wolves, and she died as a result of the injuries inflicted.